What's going on, Sooner fans, Surgeaholics? Welcome back, Sooner Surge, podcast that tells it like it is on this Tuesday night. Hunter's joining us as Jeremy will be joining us in a little bit as he finishes up his Bible study. He'll be joining us. But Daniel, welcome back, my man. Welcome back, Daniel. He's back.
I enjoyed reading that essay tonight, Daniel.
Yeah.
Just got done reading it.
Comment from last night's video. Yeah. Monty, Benjamin, Gray God, Dalpos, Teresa, everybody that's on here, Monty, everybody, welcome. Welcome to this Tuesday night edition. And let's get started right here with Steve Eden. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Steve says, latest on Jim Knowles, please. Thanks in advance. Well, go right down here to Gray God's comment. And Gray God is hollering for Mello to see if Mello will be in here tonight. If anybody joined us a few nights ago, Mello, Ohio State fan, said there's zero chance that Knowles comes OU. Gray God says, Mello, are you here? News today. OU's offering Knowles to be the highest paid DC in college football. And guys, regardless of money, and this is going back to what Steve's asking about Jim Knowles. To me, money matters, but this isn't a money deal. This is about other things. And, we can talk a lot about this tonight. The fact of the matter is there's still no announcement. Nothing's official. You're kind of at a waiting game till an announcement's made. Okay. Will an announcement be made? That's what we're all wondering. I'm leaning to yes, there will be towards Oklahoma. But until something happens, guys, things can always change. That's what I would say. You never know. And here's the one thing, though, the caveat, Hunter. I know we've talked about this before. It's becoming pretty obvious from, I guess, multiple people saying this now. Now, we'll see if this is true. But we talked about this probably 2 weeks ago when Jeremy brought this up about Jim Knowles. I said, did you think really Brent Venables went after Jim Knowles, or do you think it was the other way around? Well, a lot of people are saying that Jim Knowles' agents reached out to Brent Venables. So there's a lot of stuff you're still trying to figure out what's going to go on. But things seem to be, from everybody you hear, Dusty Dvorak on the radio, on KREF, Bob Stoop, looks good in OU's favor right now.
Yeah. I mean, no news either way, which could always be and likely could be a good thing. I mean, you don't have Jim Knowles retracting from his past statement from what, I guess that was 5 days ago or so, CFP Media Day. He was asked about it 4 days ago. I don't know how long ago that was, but yeah, no statement either way. And real chance Oklahoma lands him, which would be massive for them to go land a national champion winning defensive coordinator that had the best defense in college football this past season.
And I know you probably don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, Hunter, but we talked about this vaguely the other night. You disagreed. We don't need to go into it a lot, but the way it's shaping up, if he doesn't go to OU dropped the ball.
I still disagree.
No, hear me out. No, hear me out on this.
Because it's a wild thing.
Okay, but listen, hear me out on my reasoning. In any profession you have, if you're really good at what you do and you are reaching out to another company to find out that you want to go to, then you're already wanting to go there, or you're not reaching out. Correct?
Likely so, but there's also
so then that would mean
there's a leverage play in all that.
I don't think there is in a lot of cases.
There is
in a lot of cases.
I still wouldn't call it a miss. That's just my thoughts on it, because I think if Oklahoma is able to get him, that's a massive addition that changes a lot. I mean, you're adding the number one defensive coordinator in the country that's fresh off a national championship to come into where Brent Venables does not have to run the defense. He does not have to be overstepping constantly on everything and on the defensive side of the ball. He can sit back and, for the first time in his tenure as a head coach, be a head coach and oversee everything, not having to coach one side of the ball, not have to be so worried about what the defense is doing that he's ignoring a lot of what it is to be a head coach.
And Chuck says, I disagree, Jay. There's a lot that can take place from the time you reach out. Hunters are going to, but here's the thing. Here's what I mean, though. I know there's a lot to change, Chuck. But if somebody reaches out and they don't end up going there, it's because they didn't like something at that place. There was something they didn't vibe with. Is that wrong? I don't think that's wrong.
Maybe not. I still would not call. No, what are you talking about?
No, this is Jeremy was talking about this today with his sister, and maybe Jeremy will talk about it. He called me like Jeremy.
I saw the account.
Jeremy with 3 times was on the phone with me today talking about some stuff. So when Jeremy joins, he'll talk about it. We'll see what's going to happen. Hey, Mello, listen, Mello. I understand. You don't think Knowles is going. That's fine. I will say this, though. I don't know if you're in Ohio State or where you're at, but there's a lot of people, not here, not even just here, but all over Oklahoma, a lot of places, not even just Oklahoma. Pat McAfee today on his radio show said, look, sounds like he's going to Oklahoma. Exact words. Sounds like he's going to Oklahoma.
It's picking up a lot nationally.
So it's not just us, Mello.
I'm kind of confused on if it's picking up so much now nationally. The reference last night on the broadcast to it, to again Pat McAfee show, one of the bigger shows on sports television throughout the day. Maybe so, Clark. Maybe so. If that's the case, if it's getting to the national standpoint, not sure how the Ohio State side of media would still be insistent that it's not happening. But
yeah, and I wanted to get to really real question. Says, who is the backup plan just in case? I think the backup plan is going to be Brent Venables calling the defense with Wes Goodwin or Brandon Hall. I think that's
somebody else on staff. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, I think
would be just for the most part what it's been the last 3 years, and that's Brent Venables highly involved with the defense and somebody with the title of defensive coordinator that oversees some of it, but for the most part it would be Brent's defense.
And good evening, corrections, and Sooner fan, that's Mello. Mello's back tonight. He's not shying away from it. He's still believing it. And Boomer, y'all. Rhino's been saying it for a while. No one has been believing it, but Boomer, y'all. There you go.
Real quick, Jay, I don't know if I can find the comment. It was a bit ago. Comments have been rolling in pretty quick as of late. But it was from Michael Neal. Cannot find it. About the season softball poll today. ESPN USA softball.
Yes.
Second poll in which Oklahoma is number 3 in the preseason poll. Thoughts on that?
About where I thought they'd be based off the other polls, Softball America, whatever it was. I just think you got so many new players. Now that doesn't mean OU's isn't going to win a championship. I don't know yet. I think Florida's really good. I think Texas is really good. I mean, they're really good teams up there. It doesn't mean anything to me right now. Nothing.
Oh, it really doesn't. There's a reason why it's a preseason poll. It means absolutely nothing when the final strike is called or final out recorded in Oklahoma City in the first week of June. But I think it's about right. I mean, at this point in time, I can't pick Oklahoma to win a national championship because look at what they lost. They lost the greatest senior class in college athletic history. I mean, you're having to report those 5 seniors, a few more that also contributed largely over at least last year, if not the last few years. So, and yeah, as Ryan says, puts a chip on their shoulder they're going to want that number 1 spot back, because when you won 4 straight national championships, truly all you know is what it's like to be number 1.
And you know what? Nobody that puts an OU softball jersey on wants to be the team that doesn't win the championship. They've won 3 in a row. Like they want to continue that. And I see Daniel's comment, and he's right about this. There's a possibility that Knowles may not come. Daniel, I would agree. It's not like it's 100%. Yeah, I'm never going to say it until it's signed, sealed, delivered. But he more than likely is. And I've asked some internal people that I know. Daniel used to play for Oklahoma, knows some people. So, hey, Mello, you can say desperate. Penn State's DC went to Clemson. So things happen, okay? Who knows what's going to happen? I'm not going to sit here and say it's a 100% done deal. I'm pretty close, but I'm not going to say it's 100% until I see signed, sealed, delivered.
Real quick, Mello. So from what I can find about the social media account you're referencing, I don't see anything that says it's an absolute guarantee that he's going back to Ohio State.
Hasn't announced anything like that.
Well, he hasn't. Neither has family. And you see what you would expect from the family of a national champion coach. Less than 24 hours removed from winning a national championship. Yeah, they're going to be happy and posting about the national championship. Unless I'm missing something, I don't see anything other than how good the Ohio State defense has been this year, which shows absolutely nothing to say that he is staying at Ohio State. It also doesn't say that he's leaving. So,
guys, why we even get in a dispute? We did the same thing. And there's a lot of people that thought no chance Allie leaves. You're right, Chuck. That was the same situation. Look what happened. So maybe that's why more OU fans are like, this could happen, because they just got it handed to them with Allie. Hey, and I promise you right now, Mello, Sean, we're not desperate. I'm not desperate. You know why? In fact, I'm getting ready to bring up something I'd like to know people's thoughts. For instance, let's throw a number 2.5 million out, 3 million, whatever it's going to be. Okay, Hunter? Let me just throw that.
A lot of money, man. A lot of money.
Let me throw that scenario out there. You have a defense at OU that was ranked 16th last year. You're spending $2.5, $3 million to go get a defensive coordinator. It better work out for the whole program, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, it would have to.
Because if they don't get better as a team and get wins, then it looks like a really bad move.
Well, and when you look at how much they paid, don't know Arbuckle's salary yet. That has not been announced from any sort of board meeting, unless I somehow missed that, but don't believe that has been. And look at what Zach Alley was making last year, under $1 million. So if you're even talking about 2.5, which you would have to assume that that's going to be probably the minimum if Oklahoma were to land him, you're talking about $1.5 million more or so, give or take, than what they were spending a year ago. And if you're getting up to that 3 million mark, even more money. So yeah, big risk. If it doesn't work out, it looks
well. And here's the thing.
I think it would work out, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, I wouldn't have any concern that it wouldn't work out. I mean, Jim Knowles has been one of the best defensive coordinators in the country for a bit now. I mean, Oklahoma State, his defenses were great.
I get it. And I see Rhino's comment, and he's dead right. I've said this for a while. It doesn't matter. I think the defense is going to be good either way. But my point with that, Hunter, was this. I wouldn't be concerned that the defense wouldn't work out under Jim Knowles. My concern would be, what if as a program they still don't win the amount of games they should? That, you see where I'm going with this? Like, that's where my issue would be. Is if as a team they don't get to where they need to be. So that's kind of where I went with that. But let's see here. People talk. Mellow Sean, hey, you know what? Like Daniel said, I mean, you may be reading messages. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a definitely big possibility that you're losing your DC at Ohio State. I mean, that's just fact of the matter. Okay, whether it happens, who knows? Who knows? What does your team look like next year? 79 Steely Matt. Are you talking about OU? What does OU's team look like next year? Well, I think it's TBD, to be determined. I think if you look at where they had the worst, they needed the biggest jumps that they've improved. When you look at quarterback got a lot better.
Absolutely.
Wide receivers, they got some wide receivers. The wide receiver room should be better. I mean, but I'm still O-line. I'm like, that's where they got to make a big jump.
That's where my big concern with Oklahoma is for 2025 is that offensive line. Again, it wasn't good. They got better over the course of the year. I think the young guys as well, especially on the left side of the offensive line, Howland and Ozida improved a lot. So that's a good sign. Your other tackle, I would even both tackles could be question marks at this point in time. Logan Howland had some surgery a few weeks ago. I think that was, or maybe a week or so ago. You also have two other offensive tackles that are coming off of season-ending injuries and all that last year, multiple times that they've now had serious injuries during their tenure at Oklahoma. And then they bring in Derek Simmons out of the portal from Western Carolina, and Michael Fasusi, the number one offensive tackle in the nation in that 2025 recruiting class. So that is a good sign. It's just a matter of do they improve there or not. But quarterback, they absolutely took a step up. Anything is better than what they had from an offensive coordinator standpoint a year ago. I think Ben Arbuckle is going to be good. It's just they got to get out there and prove it is the biggest thing across the board for that offense and for the entire 2025 OU team.
Yeah, and I understand a little bit with Melo. I mean, Melo, they just won a national championship. Why would – oh, my gosh, it's like OU when they had Lincoln Riley. Why would Lincoln Riley leave and go to USC? Why wouldn't Zach Alley leave Oklahoma and go to West Virginia? Listen, sometimes it's not just about money. And I agree with Daniel. OU's going to pay big money if they get Knowles. There's no question about it. But sometimes it's not all about that. Melo says, well, yeah, so he's just going to after 3 years, Jim just says, yeah, I'm going to move there. Well, you know what, Melo? Sometimes there's other situations. Family. He did live here before, Melo.
He was defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State for 3 years.
He lived in Oklahoma before, so it's not like he's never lived in Oklahoma.
Familiar with the area.
Yeah. There, Ron dropping in some sarcasm. I see it, Ron. I see you. I believe that it is going to be up for grabs, that Chuck was saying. I believe that it's going to be the uprise or the downfall of OU and BB next year. We need to get our focus back on the O-line and BB. The O-line's where it's going to change next year. If you're an OU fan and you're looking at 8 to 9 wins and that's what you're hoping for next year, O-line's got to be a lot better, period. I mean, guys, the defense, we're sitting here talking about Knowles, but to be flat out honest, the defense is going to be good either way. Now, I will say the only difference, I think Brent Venables, you can maybe see if he's better if he's not having to control the defense. If he's controlling the defense and being a head coach, you're not going to be able to see if he can do the job. You know what I mean?
I think that's the biggest difference if they're able to get – it really is. If they're able to get Jim Knowles or Brent's not having to run the defense and all of that. So, yeah, that would change a lot if he could, for the first time, again, as I said earlier, in his tenure, be the head coach and nothing but the head coach, not also having to play defensive coordinator and really almost stress himself out with how is the defense looking compared to how is the team as a whole looking.
Yeah, and I see some people. I think Jody dropping off. It was confirmed on a paid site. Listen, until I hear a press conference and they say Jim Knowles is at Oklahoma, then I understand, Jody. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, nothing's official yet. So until something is, we'll still wait and see. So we'll see. Greg is on here tonight, so I'm assuming no baby coconut tonight. Chuck says this, Jay, if they get Jim, do you still think BB only has a year? Well, I've said this before. I think they need to win next year, and they need to win. I have said 8 games or so. If they win 7 games, there's probably a chance that they would keep him.
Yeah, there
that's
would
not
be.
whether I think they should. I'm just saying they would probably. You agree, Hunter?
Yes.
On schedule, they probably would.
Yeah. And the man's on here, Jeremy. get his thoughts on Jim Knowles. Going to hop off here so that Jeremy.
What's up, Germ?
Here.
What's up, Germ? You there?
Freezing, Jay. Got the heat going in the 07 Odyssey. If there's one thing that works really well, it's the heat in this thing. So I'm thankful for that.
That's good, man. It's probably warmer in your car than it is in my garage.
Oh yeah, these heated seats work great, man.
And Chuck says, why would money to get Jim and then buy? That's what I just said, Chuck. Like if they win 7 games, they're probably going to keep him.
I have a question, Jay. I know I talked to someone. You know, we know someone who's pretty into the Ohio State stuff. But is there a buyout in his contract right now? Jim Knowles is.
I don't know that. I forgot to
because
ask
he seemed to think there was, but of course it's not going to be anything like a BV buyout that Joe C put in place. But
Germ, it was brought up in here. Paula Knowles. Mello was in here talking about Paula Knowles or some other people. I don't remember.
Paula Miller,
whatever. I mean, they were talking about her tweets and stuff.
Correct.
I didn't follow them.
Very active. What about it?
I'm asking you, Jeremy. You were calling me today like 3 times talking about it, so I didn't know what you knew.
Well, I had some people that said it doesn't look like maybe based on the system. I mean, if you go back and look at, the tweets that she's put out, Jay, and I'm not one who follows tweets. I'm not one who even gets in the Twitterverse, okay? You know me. But if you go back, she's saved a lot of receipts about people who basically are saying can him. So that does line up with where people are like saying that a lot of people were very critical of Jim Knowles, and now all of a sudden they win. And so, I mean, maybe there's some, I guess you could say, hard feelings toward maybe some people. I don't know, Jay. That's hard to look into, but to base it off of that Twitter. But
yeah, who knows? And who is Gunner? Thanks for the super. Appreciate it big time. Says somebody said that Knowles kids go to school in Oklahoma and Knowles grew up a Sooners fan as well. I don't know anything of that to be true. I'm trying to remember, Hunter. Does Knowles kids go to Oklahoma still? I thought they were. I know the fiance has a senior in high school, I believe, and the one that's going to college already. So I don't know about Knowles' kids, but
$2.2 million buyout is what really real says.
Yeah. So me and Hunter talked about this earlier.
I don't know if that's really real or not, but
hey, but listen. For OU to go get Knowles, they're going to pay a lot of money. And I'm going to kind of tie this with what Chuck was saying. Would they pay all that money and then say next year they go 5 wins? BB gone?
Jay, I'll tell you this right now, and I've said this before. Look, I'm not claiming to have any truth on this. What I'm saying is if you bring a guy like Jim Knowles in and BV fails, whoever you bring in next year, you don't have to get rid of Jim Knowles. And the other thing is, would Jim Knowles want to pursue a head coach again? I mean, that because his name would probably be thrown in the hat at that point.
Yeah, well, the defense is going to be good either way. I'm not. It all comes down to this. We can talk about whatever, all this stuff we're talking about. OU's just got to go win ball games. You can look. They have a really, really tough schedule next year. But they do have, on paper, it looks like the quarterback's going to be way better than it was last year. You have a better OC, way better than you had last year. And defense is going to be really good. You return a lot of guys. If you don't, I mean, as bad as they were this year, you could have had another win or two and got to 7. I mean, so you would think like they should be able to win 8 games, right?
Should.
So if they don't, and that falls on BV.
And Jay, where he's at in his career, I saw what Ryan Boggs said. Where he's at in his career, I mean, kids are grown. Head coach might be again in his future. You don't know that, but Hunter, like Hunter does, is dropping some facts in here about his past. I think the most place he spent a lot of time was Duke, Jay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think today's Tuesday night. I think by Thursday you got an answer. Thursday you have an answer. maybe tomorrow, but I think by Thursday for sure. I mean, there's no more time to. I mean, what are you waiting on now?
Right. So, and hey, I totally listen. Here's the deal: you can't compare apples to oranges, Billy. Here's what I mean by that. BV as a DC is one thing. BV can't be the DC and the head coach. You can't be both and. It's either or. So if you want to say BV as DC was elite, absolutely was at Clemson. Absolutely was. Jim Knowles is at the top of the game right now.
Hey, and Mac, I saw what you and Chuck did. Yeah, Hunter, open up the phone lines. Max, have a feeling OU will give BV 2 more years with Knowles. Possibly. But I cannot sit here on January, whatever day this is, and say 100% sure that if OU throws out say you go get Knowles and you have a bad year and you win 5 games. I can't tell you they would keep Brent Venables. Because if you're willing to go pay Knowles this money, I think donors then would be like, no, we got to make a change. I mean, if you win 5 games, come on now. I'm not ready to say it's already officially for sure guaranteed 2 more years. No, I don't think so. Let's get to corrections 101. He's on the line. And then we'll get answer trivia for here. Well, before we get to corrections, I'm going to answer this. Who is Ohio State coach after Jim Tressel? Was that not Urban?
Was it, Jay?
I thought it was Urban.
Thinking they had.
Daniel says it was Urban.
I thought they had a one-hit wonder. But
what's up, corrections? How are you tonight?
How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Jerm, you at Walmart again?
Absolutely. Just got out of Bible study. I'm here at Walmart.
Well, when you go in tonight at the end of the stream, I hope you ride one of them scooters around the store and live stream it. That'd be elite.
They wanted you to do that last week, Jerm.
Need to get some power steering fluid for the 07 Odyssey, so I just might.
2 quick things. I was listening to KREF today to Parker Thune, and I know a lot of people have been speculating about Arbuckle and Arbuckle, keeping the offensive staff that he has. And Parker Thune said that BV told him that he had that option to keep whatever staff he wanted or to bring anybody in he wanted, and he chose to keep all the offensive staff that we have. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then number 2, just a suggestion for the show, because I know, man, as soon as I get the notification that you guys go live, I click on it, man, you guys are already off and running. I would love to see maybe a 2 or 3 minute intro video running up.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Give everybody a chance to get in there before you guys start talking, because man, I don't even know what I've missed in the 30 seconds or a minute or whatever.
Hey, it's a great idea. We've thrown it around to do that before. We need to just go ahead and do it. I think it's a good idea. So
we did have Coconut Greg's rap as an intro once too, and it was elite.
I bet it was. Coconut Greg is elite, man. What are we talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, may have to do that again, but yeah, intro countdown. We'll appreciate that advice. We may look into that and doing it.
Yeah, but I just wanted to share that about Arbuckle, because I know a lot of people have been bashing Arbuckle a little bit, or bashing BV, saying, well, he's not giving him the offensive, leash. He's not letting him hire whoever he wants. And evidently, Arbuckle chose to keep the offensive staff. So I just thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share that.
Yeah.
Jay, that's baffling too, that BV would say, I'm fine keeping what we got. That's just.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to
disagree. 2 guys that I'm specifically thinking of.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. Hey, thanks, corrections.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys. Look forward to it.
Yeah. Hey, I see Mello's in here tonight, Jay.
Yeah, he's in here.
For that $1,000 super chat when Knowles becomes the Oklahoma DC. Jay, I forgot about Luke Fickell, dude.
That's a great trivia question, Daniel.
I did not know he was the head. I can't remember him being the head coach at all there.
I don't either. Hey, and Dave, thanks for the super. Appreciate it big time.
The head coach. So he was never really the head coach. He was all interim basis for that time.
Thanks, Dave. Hey, let's get to John. John's on the line. John, how are you tonight? Doing
good?
Hey,
guys. How you doing?
Good.
So I actually heard a great point on just yesterday on Hall of Fame podcast. I listen to them too. I love both your guys' podcasts. I admit it. But a guy on there said that everybody talks recruiting, but if it's only about 5 stars and that was all that mattered, Georgia and Alabama would be winning the national title every single year. You know, they said there's also development. And you look at like a guy like Jim Knowles and like Brent Venables, the way they're able to develop guys on the defensive end. You know, I don't see like a, you know, Robert Spears-Jennings. I don't see Stutzman developing this way without Venables the last few years.
Yeah,
You know, and
Venable's
like
developed.
these guys like RMT, RSJ, and I don't think like Zach Alley left. These guys are all still coming back. They're coming back because of Venables. You know, so
Well,
I
hey,
mean, I just thought that
John,
you know it's just like, yeah,
you're right. One of the strengths of if you want to say what is the strength of BV, I've said it on here multiple times. He's been able to keep guys. He's recruited pretty well on defense, and he's been able to keep guys.
yeah.
And they've got the defense has gotten better. The issue though is I don't think he can just coach the defense and be the head coach. It can't be both and.
Yeah, he has shown some issues with game management. I think he's gotten a little better there. I kind of go back and forth with that though, because you know, you look at some of these offensive gurus like Lane Kiffin. I don't want to throw Lincoln Riley into that because he's been a disaster since he went to USC. But some of these guys like Lane Kiffin, and you know, they're calling plays on the offense, and they're still head coaching pretty well. And doesn't the guy for Texas's head coach, doesn't he do the same thing?
Sarkisian calls plays, yes.
Sarkisian, yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. I know that if they don't get Jim Knowles, they are just not going to get as good of a defensive coordinator as Brent Venables, and they just cannot afford any slippage on that side of the ball next year.
If they don't get Jim Knowles, Brent Venables will be calling the plays.
Yeah, and I don't think he has a choice. I mean, he can take on a project, somebody who maybe wants to learn, but he can't just allow someone to come in there, quote unquote, make their own mistakes at this point. His job's on the line.
John, I got a question. At the very first of your question on this phone call, you said you brought up the 5-star thing, and then you said development. Are you saying that development's more important than the 5 stars? Or
I think it is. I think it absolutely is because
you can't win without 5. You got to have some 5 stars though.
Yeah, in the aggregate, yes, but if you don't, I just see too many times when, and maybe it's anecdotal, but it just seems like, you know, these guys did have a point. Like if it was all about the 5 stars, you know, Alabama and Georgia nobody could compete with them at all.
Why? Because Texas and Ohio State get 5 stars. Why can't they compete?
I don't think they get as many.
I'm going to give
a lot. They get a lot.
I got a perfect example, guys. Will Howard.
Okay, what?
Will Howard is nothing like he is without the 5-star studs around him, talent-wise. I think Trayvon Henderson was a 5-star. Judkins may have been. Jeremy Smith, Meg Wu. I mean, they've got guys everywhere, and guess what? He looks a lot better at quarterback. But I agree, John. You don't have to have all 5 stars. You can have 1 of 4 stars. You got to have, as someone said in the chat, right guys in the right spot, and things can happen.
And Jay, you brought up Texas. I think that actually supports my point more than anything because that Texas gets a lot of 5 stars, and they're hardly. I mean, that's been going on for like 10 years, and just now they're getting in the playoffs. They're hardly ever. They underperform. You know, for the amount of talent they have. You know,
you're right about that because just recently is when they've really started to develop players better. And so, yes, it's a combo of both. You got to have both. I would agree with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying, you know, don't get 5 stars, but I mean, like Stutzman wasn't a 5-star. You know,
yeah, I see. He
wasn't a 5-star. And none of these guys, I think, have gotten to this point without BV. If under Riley and Grinch, I mean, these guys wouldn't be anywhere near where they are right now.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, thanks for the call, John. We got to get to the next one. Appreciate you calling in.
Before we get to Coconut Greg, I was going to go back the Judkins stuff. Yeah. When he came from Ole Miss, I bet his portal rating was if he'd have been at Ole Miss, they would have been in the playoff this year.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, they were close anyway. So, Hey, let's get to Greg. Greg, you're on the line.
Hey, fellas. So,
You.
yes, there's no question BV has done great things for the defense and whatnot. But on the flip side of that, we've still had two of our worst seasons all time under his leadership, 2, 6, and 7 seasons.
Fair.
And if we had been competing for national championships the last couple of years, I could say, okay, maybe you sit on your laurels a little bit and say, okay, it works our way. But if you have a chance to win or to get a guy like Jim Knowles, you don't pass that up. You have to try to go for this. Granted, BV's done awesome things for the defense, but it's not working his way solely. We need outside perspective with a coach like Jim Knowles. So if it's on the table that we can get him, you have to go all in on it. You can't let a coach like this pass up, because he'd probably be coaching at a team that is going to play us more often, and it'd be more detrimental. So if we can get him, you got to try for it.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like you have a good chance to get him. You can't drop it now.
Yeah, my point is really just, some are saying, we don't need him because we got BV. Yeah, BV's good on defense, but we still need outside help. It's not working his way solely.
And you're absolutely right, Greg, because if OU were to not get Jim Knowles, there will be people say, not a big deal. He not any good anyway. Stop it. He's the best. He's the mastermind. Get him in Norman right now. Make it happen.
Yeah. Get me in a room with them. I'll convince them to come. So.
Close the deal. Closing time, Greg. That's you.
Absolutely. Y'all take it easy. See ya.
Hey, you too, Greg.
Hey, I'm going to agree with Mello on something. Lane Whiffen is right.
I agree. Hey, I said last year, until they make a playoff, I can't pick them to make a playoff. It's just hard.
I did talk to him, Jace, Jane Laurinaitis. The problem is he's so young. He just now became an assistant coach. Would they really move him up that quickly?
Well, I think they will. Yeah, for sure.
What's Mello's thoughts on Laurinaitis as the next coordinator?
Hey, I dropped the link there for you, KB. It's in there now. I wanted to get some. Daniel says, I know there are some fans that are down on BV. A question I will ask is, would you rather have our situation right now or what we Texas had 2014 to 17? I'd have to look back at those years with Texas.
Is that the Charlie Strong era?
I think a lot of people have compared it to those years. Now, here's the thing. You can change – Brent Venables can change everything, the narrative about Brent Venables at OU in 1 year if they win games.
Well, yeah.
And because here's the thing. If they win this year, then you can say, okay, he went and got a good OC. He went and got a good DC, and he was the head coach, and look what happened. Okay, maybe he's figuring this thing out. Because to be honest, it is his first head coaching job. He hasn't learned anywhere else. I mean, so he is kind of like, this is okay. Now, maybe he's like, okay, now it's time to me be the head coach, and we got to get somebody else in here to take more of the defense. So I don't know.
And Chuck, I agree. I'm not going to say if they don't land Jim Knowles, I think Brent Venables dropped the ball. That would be what I would say, Chuck. I would change it a little. And I don't think.
In what way?
Jay, I think they're going to pay him. So the only thing that would keep him from here is if he talks with BB and just thinks, I just don't know if this guy's going to let me do my thing.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that with Hunt earlier. If you reach out to somebody to go work there and you're the one that reached out and then you don't end up going there was something there you didn't like.
Hey, I think it was this chatter here, Devin Steele, that said this earlier, but this is a great, and I may be wrong. Maybe it wasn't Devin, but I think it was. I've used this analogy before, Jay, about you got to have, first off, you got to have the right people on the bus. Second of all, not only do you have to have the right people on the bus, you got to have the right people in the right seat on the bus, and then you got to have the right driver of the bus. Now, the argument right now is BV the right driver? And if he is, then the people that are in the seat, some of their seats need to be moved. Some people need to be kicked off the bus, a.k.a. Joe John Finley. He should not be on the bus. Like, there are some guys that need to be off the bus, others that need to be moved seats on the bus. So, but the wheels on the bus go round and round. Unfortunately, like my 07 Odyssey, OU's in a situation where you got to air them up on the daily, where you got to fine-tune things all the time. That's what I would say. And the wheels on the bus go round and round, and you better have the right bus. Don't forget. Yeah, that's true. Better have the right bus. OU does. It's OU, right? We are OU. Isn't that the saying? I
think that's the same.
Sean says Jim Knowles just got his staff set at OSU. Plus, he has better players. Yep, there is this thing where some people like challenges and be closer to family. Like, it's a thing, man. It's a thing.
Hey, let's get to KB. KB, you're on the line.
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Are y'all doing all right tonight?
Yeah, you?
Great, man. Just staying warm. Hey, I heard a pretty good analogy, I guess, for your recruiting today from Texas. And he was saying his philosophy is you never overpay for good talent, you never overpay for great talent, but you always overpay for elite talent. When it comes to money, that's how you need to look at it.
I like that.
And there was a stat that was talking about 5 stars versus 4 stars, and you have a lot of bust in your 5 stars, but 5-star players are 40% more likely in this study that I guess they did to go to get drafted in the first round in the NFL than when you start with your 4 or 3 stars.
And you know what, KB? I think if you were to do a deep dive as far as a team put the way you put together a team, I think you're better off having 5 stars in a lot of other positions and not quarterback.
Oh, I could probably agree with that.
I think you could get, if you have a good quarterback, 3-4 star, but it's good, and you have guys around him, you're better off than having a 5-star quarterback and 3 or 4 star other positions. You got to have the other guys more, I think, when you look at it. I mean,
I wouldn't cry about a 5-star quarterback, but I wouldn't.
Well, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't hang my hat on it either.
I mean, because you go look at it. I mean, how many 5-star just out of high school 5-star quarterbacks go on to win a national championship?
Right. Well, I mean, look at Texas, for instance. Let's take Arch out of the question. Next year coming in, you got Cleat Lockett, French. You've got DeAndre Moore. You've got Wingo.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Niblet. I mean, them are probably guys are probably more important to receiving offense than Arch would be. Now, don't get me wrong. When you got somebody like Arch, it would help. But if you didn't.
I see your point. It helps, but it's you can have a good quarterback that can look. I mean, you look at it. Look at the 2 that were in the national championship. Neither one of those were 5-star quarterbacks.
Well, look at yours.
Yeah.
I mean, now granted, Archie is, but honestly, I mean, I know he doesn't have the experience, but he sure got more. He's got a better ball than yours has by a long shot.
That's right.
And yours is a 5-star, and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway.
We'll find out, Mello. Hey, you too, KB. We'll find out next year, Mello, how good he is. That's for sure.
Hey.
I want to get to something. I got to get to trivia. Go ahead, John.
2 things. I would like the person, I think it was Sean Schrock, if my memory serves me correctly. Who is Jim Knowles' guys? Because Laurinaitis is a former player. Larry Johnson is old, has been there a while. Like, tell me his staff. Tell me the staff that he said.
I think
Daniel Brooks is right. Zach Alley had better players at OU than West Virginia. Where is he right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good point. Hey, trivia tonight. Make sure you check out the Fan Stop. www.thefanstop.com. Use code SURGE to get 10% off your first 3 months. Also, whether you're an OU fan or another college team, they have a lot of the colleges in there, officially licensed. Check them out. thefanstop.com. I got 2 trivia questions. We're going to go with the first one now and then second one at the end of the show. But this one came to mind with Ron's comment to Jeremy a while ago, and it's not a sports-related question, but the wheels on the bus. We all know they go round and round, but what's the 4th verse of that? The first one is the wheels on the bus go round and round. The second one is the doors on the bus. What's the 4th one? Little pop culture trivia here. What on the on the fourth verse, what are we talking about? And I got it here, so I'll see if I see the answer. I know it, Hunter. You don't need to look it up. I know it. There it is, right there. That was quick. Wait, Mark beat you, Dalpos, barely. The wipers on the bus. No, wait, did I say fourth? I said fourth, didn't I? So that's not correct.
Wait. You bashed me for movie trivia.
Oh,
And wheels
I
on
said
the bus.
Fourth one, did I not?
What do the babies on the bus go, Jay?
Well, the third one was wipers, so that's not correct.
What do the babies go?
Wow, 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 like you, Germ.
What do the parents go? The parents on the bus say, the teachers on the bus say, shut your mouth. That's what I tell you all the time, Jay. Hey, Matt G, wasn't Matt G at Indiana until like this year?
I don't know. Hey, did I say third or fourth? What did I say? Hunter.
Bad trivia.
Sorry.
Hey, where was Matt G's connection with Jim Knowles? Because I know he's at Indiana. He's the safety. Matt G is the safety coach at Ohio State, correct?
Yeah.
Is that right, Jay?
Germ, I don't know, Germ. I don't follow Ohio State.
I think he's the safety coach, but he was with Knowles at Duke, went to Indiana, now he's back with Knowles. So
the answer was the Signals, okay? 918 got it. Okay. I'll ask the sports trivia question later in the show, OU related. Don't worry, guys. No, Sooner WX. If he's the coach of the Cowboys, I hate to say I may renounce my fandom. I won't ever do that, but I'll be so upset.
So a guy that they brought in for this last year, and Jay, that's the thing. I mean, I don't think in the grand scheme of things it's going to matter that if or not he can bring someone on staff. Now, he might make that as part of the deal, and that's fine. Yeah, I know he's a safety coach, but he was at Indiana up until this year, correct?
And I will say this, I want to get back to Chuck because I have no problem because listen, on this live show, guys, there are so many comments rolling through here. We try to get them, then we say our opinions. Sometimes after I watch it, I'm like, man, I like what they said. I'm going to go back to what Chuck said earlier. And it was about when I said, it would be, yes, I still think OU would drop the ball. But I will say this, there are things like maybe Jim Knowles talks to me. He's like, I want to bring these three coaches. And Brent Venable said, there's still things that could, I understand where you're coming from, Chuck. There's other things that could happen to derail it. Okay. So I see your point.
And to me, it's a BV issue if it is. And Hub, why do you mean for my sake? What? You hope Jim Knowles comes to OU for my sake? Man, I don't really have any.
You don't have a dog in the fight? You don't have a dog in the fight, do you?
Yeah, I have OU as a team in the fight, but I mean.
As a fan, you want it to happen.
Will Muschamp, are you talking about Will Muschamp at Dallas? Or at OU?
Tell me this, though.
No. Either way.
How does Ben Johnson literally just lose in the champion conference or whatever division they call it, playoffs, whatever it is? How do they already lose? And these Bears have already hired him, and the Dallas Cowboys are still sitting there twiddling their thumbs. They don't know what. I mean, I don't understand.
Jay,
it makes sense.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with OU. It's the same thing with OU, and here's what I mean. If OU doesn't get Jim Knowles, I don't care if they go to Will Muschamp, Gary Patterson, Wes Goodwin, you name it. It looks bad. It's going to look like a second fiddle thing. Look, the talk's out there that OU wants Jim Knowles. That's what the talk is. So if I'm any of those other guys, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, now they're going to come over to me. Like, it's just not. It's Jim Knowles or bust. I saw the comment that he's not the Holy Grail. I agree. He is the best of the best at DC. You got to find a way to get him. If not, you just go internally at that point. You just go internally and try to last. And it's sad to say that, Jay, but.
Yeah, I haven't heard Borat's name in a long time. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while.
I will say my percentages are going up that it's Jim Knowles.
And I would agree with Greg out here. No Knowles means it's Brandon Hall. I would agree with that.
It's still not a good thing, Jay.
What's not a good thing?
Well, he had the right players at OSU too, because he was a mastermind there as well.
Wait, what's not the right good thing? What are you talking about?
It's like going from something really good to just settling. Hey, listen, real quick, that is not a knock on Brandon Hall. But if you wanted Brandon Hall as the DC, it would have been done by now. So it is settling. Would you agree, Jay? If I came to you right now and said, "Hey, Jay, I got this opening. I'm going after this other guy. I mean, he's the GOAT of DC right now, but if he doesn't get it, it's yours."
I'd be honored.
Okay, that's why I was kind of curious, kind of what you thought on that.
Well, I mean, if you're going after, you just said I'm going after the GOAT. You know,
Is it settling at all?
I do think it would have been done, like you said, like Greg God says, if they wanted that to happen, they would have already done that. That's not their first choice. But at the same time, maybe it was their first choice, and then until Jim Knowles' agent got on the phone and said, "Hey, BV, what about this?"
Well, here's the other thing I'll say. OU can't take no right off the bat. They got to fight.
You got to fight
for your right
to party. Yeah.
Party.
Yeah. We're not going to have another singing show. Hey.
Lori, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why what makes my percentage go up, okay? There has been no talk. No one has come out. Not in the post game. No one from them. Nowhere have I seen anyone come out and say, this talk is crazy. So there's definitely talk, okay? And then just some other things. I haven't seen it denied by anyone, even when it's been brought up to people who know him.
Well, you even had Pat McAfee today say it. I mean, it's getting out. I mean, people are talking about it. So
it's not been squashed.
You know what I think is funny is we had a conversation, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago when you brought up your source thing. Remember that? How long ago was that? A couple weeks?
Yes.
Do you remember the conversation of, I asked the chat, I said, I think this helps tremendously the narrative at Oklahoma and the perception. And people said, no, it doesn't mean anything. You guys, it means a lot if you were to landing nationally. Nationally, a lot of people are like, whoa, wow. That's what would be said. Wow, Oklahoma got Jim Knowles. Wow.
Devin's right. They need to transform themselves into the fox, not the wiener dog, and go get him. And hey, the other thing, Sean, I can agree. I know agents do this all the time, and I think his agent's one of them. But
I think it's Jimmy Sexton, right?
But his agent's one of them. But let me tell you something. Sometimes it's not about the money. Hey, if he didn't have the family here and the fiance, I think you could say, well, it's probably a money thing.
Yeah, I think there's other stuff that go into it. And Sean is dead right about the agent safe. This is what nobody, like, I cannot sit here and tell you that maybe he's trying to get more money. I don't know that. That's happened before.
Quote in. Put it in here. Mello, put it in the chat, please. Put it in there where Berm squashed this rumor. Put it in the chat. I want to.
Hey, respectfully, I got to say something.
I want to see it in the chat before we get off this live.
Hey,
put it in the chat.
It doesn't matter, Jeremy. Specifically, I got to let me talk for a second. Okay, let me talk for a second. It doesn't really even matter because, and I say this as an OU fan. Whatever we as OU fans hear, a lot of times from OU people isn't always everything, because we're hearing things that's on the OU side. Just like Ohio State, they're hearing things from the Ohio State perspective. Okay? That doesn't mean that's always right, just like it doesn't always mean the OU's what we're hearing on the OU side's right. There's been things that OU is going to get this guy, and they didn't land him. Okay? So we'll see what happens in a day or two. Okay? We got a caller on the line. We got True Sooner. What's up, True?
What's going on, fellas?
How are you?
Doing good tonight. Doing good. Just listening to everything, taking everything in from the last month. I have been quiet, but I might be on a couple of times in the next several weeks unloading.
What are your thoughts on Knowles?
I like him. Problem is, I don't know, man. I think there's good reasons why he would come here. He's not going to have the players that he had at Ohio State. I don't care what anybody says about Venables and his staff. They may be good recruiters when they were, quote unquote, in a different era of non-money. Clemson, people were going to Clemson, not because of Venables, but they wanted to go to Clemson because of the environment. I'm not saying no players were going to Clemson, but a lot of those players were going to Clemson irregardless. Venables just brought their defensive mentality to that organization that got them going. Those players were already going to Clemson irregardless.
True. Are you saying OU's not getting players on defense?
No, I didn't say they weren't getting players. They're not going to get, they're not going to get the kind of players that are at Ohio State. That's not happening. Those guys, Deion Sanders can go out there and say, hey, let me go out to Florida and let me pull the #1 defensive back in the country out of Florida who's committed to my alma mater. Venables can't do that. Show me even when he was at Clemson, that he ever had a top top 3 defensive back that go to Clemson because of him. That's not happening. Because Oklahoma does not have the money, and they don't have the mentality. When Brent Venables said in an interview, I want my program to be like Iowa State, that lost him for me. I don't ever want Oklahoma to be like Iowa State and what they represent in college football. They do a good job. They do a good job bringing in a couple of players and building them up. Oklahoma's not that program.
True Sooner.
They're just not, brother. I mean,
I never heard him say that in my life.
True
brother,
Sooner.
I will get the documentation to you and get it out there in the near future if you need it. I'm all about facts. I'm not one of them Trumpers that's going to tell you a bunch of bull and just say whatever and saying and keep on saying it so you'll believe it. I'm going to bring facts to the table.
I just want to know where. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, but
real quick, Brent
go ahead.
Wasn't a Hall of Fame cornerback. Now, OU's got some. David Stone was highly touted, wasn't he?
Brother, I didn't say they couldn't recruit. What I'm saying is they're not going to get the totality of players that they're never going to, in this NIL era, they're never going to get that kind of organization that Ohio State has. So what they got to do is they got to be able to, and let's face it, I haven't really been impressed with some of the guys that Brent Venables has recruited that haven't produced. I'm still waiting to see what happens.
Guys that are highly recruited. Hey, and
I'm not talking about the David Stones and the defensive tackle buddy of his. I'm talking about other guys. I mean, I can't get into the weeds here and name by name. I'll do that for you in the future if you need that. But there's been players that Venables has brought in that haven't produced.
Hey, thanks for the call, True Center. I take that point, but I will say there's a reason Deion Sanders is getting the #1 cornerbacks above other positions. He was a Hall of Fame cornerback. That's the reason.
No, and I agree with True on some aspect of it. Like, guys, the Ohio State roster, one of the best rosters in the nation. I mean, that roster they had put together, really dang good. I do think defensive back is that's the position as far as on the defensive side. They haven't got that just top 2 defensive back, top 3 recruit out of the nation or whatever. But don't tell me that he can't recruit defensive players. I think he can. I think he's proven that. Ohio State had a dang good roster, okay?
Why are we comparing OU's roster to Ohio State right now? Ohio State's is way better. Like, they're elite. OU's got a lot of really good players, dude. But
hey, and thanks for the call, True. If you could find though Iowa State where Brent Venables hey, call back in tomorrow. I want to know where Brent Venable said, I want to be just like Iowa State. Please tell me where that's at. I would love to hear it. I've never heard that in my life. What's up, Daniel? What's up?
I appreciate you calling in, but there was a lot that I was like wrong with that I don't even know where to begin. But I mean, and I'm not trying to disrespect him or anything like that. First off, Oklahoma can get those recruits. You have to build up the aura and the mentality to get those teams. It's a brand, and you can have that. Now, in terms of BV recruiting top tier talent, I'm not really sure where he's getting that. I mean, BV consistently every year at Clemson, Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins. I mean, I keep on going to the linebackers that they got. So BV is able to recruit those guys. Oklahoma just has to be consistent on building that kind of talent and getting that kind of players. Now, can they compete with Ohio State? I don't know. But to say Oklahoma can't get those players, I'm not really sure where he's getting that from. I mean, that's just coming from me. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just factually not true, especially seeing what BV did at historically a lesser university at Clemson than Oklahoma was.
Yeah.
So if he's able to build that up defensively at Clemson, why is he not able to build that up as a head coach at Oklahoma?
Hey, and the other this, if we're talking about Deion, I know he mentioned Deion. Colorado's recruiting class is not killing it. They may be killing it at defensive back and some other positions. They're not killing it across the board. So I don't understand the comparison of how Deion can go get all these guys and BV can't, because I'm pretty sure OU's recruiting class is better than Colorado.
Well, the one thing I'll say, though, the one thing I will say about the Clemson stuff, the only difference I see between Clemson, what they were doing then and what the difference is now, is NIL is involved now. That's the only difference, I think. BV can recruit, but now you got NIL involved. That's the only difference.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it just hearing that sometimes that's what bugs me when they say either BV or Oklahoma can get those players. It's just how you get them. Now, historically, yes, Ohio State and the Texas of the world have historically recruited higher players or higher ranked players than Oklahoma. But like I said, I always refer back to Michigan. A lot of times it's not about that, because Jim Harbaugh in his time there, he rarely had a top 5 recruiting class. Yeah. And then after 2020, even those classes weren't. He had a few 5 stars running around there. What was the D lineman's name that was on his team? The D tackle.
What year?
For Michigan, Mason Graham. I believe he was a 5-star guy. I mean, he had some running around there, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, guys like that. But you have to develop that talent. That's something more about. I just firmly believe eventually they're going to consistently get those top-ranked recruiting classes because it is Oklahoma. That's not something Oklahoma can't do. And maybe I'm biased because obviously the history I have with Oklahoma, but I just get tired of saying that, you can in totality get these players and this, like chill with that noise. Y'all acting like we out here and we're running around like we're Fresno State. I mean, we get those talents. We get those talent. We will be able to develop them and use them to the best of their ability. I mean, schools like A&M can get all the talent, but look at all those players now. When A&M had historic or statistically the best recruiting class in modern times, what did they win? 6, 7, 8 games. So getting those recruits doesn't also necessarily mean success.
Yeah, that's true. Facts, as correction says. Hey, thanks for the call, Daniel. Appreciate it, man.
You're welcome, guys.
The other thing is Peyton Bowen was what 5-star safety?
Yeah. Okay. Downs is him, Greg. Downs is unbelievable.
Caleb Downs. Hey, and by the way, I'm still waiting on the link. They said it was a live stream. Said that. Look, I'll believe it when I see it. If you can't drop the link in here, I don't know if it was said. Like, I'll have to go find it after this.
And I really do want to find out this Iowa State. I don't know where that was coming. Now, you know why? If the argument was that Ohio State, OU will never be able to, OU can't recruit wide receivers like Ohio State. Okay. I mean, you're right. That's not happening. That hasn't happened. They're killing it in the wide receiver thing. So
now what they couldn't get at safety that ended up a cornerback that didn't actually, I don't think he became as good as people thought, was Proctor from Owasso in the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma couldn't land him. He goes to Ohio State, and I don't think he ended up being elite. He was good, though. He was good.
And KB has been on this, and and it goes back to what John said. Even if you recruit 4 or 5 stars, you got to develop them. And that's where you specifically look on the offensive side of the ball at Oklahoma. That's where the problem's been. Yeah, awesome call in again for Daniel. Appreciate it. Hey, one thing before I get to the next trivia here, let me see if I can find it.
Wasn't he a 5-star? He didn't pan out.
No, he was unbelievable in high school.
Wait, Mello. My point was OU did not get him that year, and he was from the state of Oklahoma. That was my point. Yeah. Mello, you find the live stream. At least tell us what the live stream was.
I'll go watch the whole live stream. I like watching stuff during.
Drop it in here, Sean. Where Berm said that he wasn't going anywhere. Drop it in here.
Hey, let me get to the last trivia of the night. What's up, Ray? How you doing? Make sure you check out the Fan Stop. thefanstop.com. Here we go. This is a OU trivia. The game this year, OU versus Tulane. OU had somebody that had one catch for -2 yards. Who was it?
This year?
They caught one ball for -2 yards. Who was this player? OU versus Tulane.
Oh, that'll be easy.
Do you know it?
No, it's not Sharp.
It's not Sharp. Not Tatum. I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give it away if I say something. But Jimmy, Tatum was part of the play. I'll say that. And there it is. Gray God. Jackson Arnold caught it. Tatum threw it. Arnold caught it. -2 yards.
This may be the funniest thing.
Way to go, Gray God.
Hey, Gray God, good job. Hey, he talks about it before the presser started now. This dude, come on. You can't say things that are false and then change it like this is funny, man. Tell us. So now it was before the live stream. How did you even hear it?
Hey, real quick, I got to get something I'm seeing here. Chuck, when did I say it's not important? I've never said that, Chuck.
Mello, got you on that one, didn't I, Mello?
Jerm, did I say that it wasn't important at all?
I don't remember you saying that, Jay.
I said it's important, but so is 5 stars.
Hey, what's funny, Jay, is did you know you, me, and Hunter Jackson, we talk about a lot of things before the live stream begins. Guess what? Guess who knows about it? Only us. No one hears about it. So I think that's kind of funny that it was before the. Hey, drop the. All I want you to do right now, Mello, right now before we get off, drop the name of the live stream. Just drop the name of the live stream.
Yeah, you can go. Hey,
I don't care if it was in the live stream or not. Drop the name of the live stream. We'll be waiting for it.
I would love to go watch it personally because I do. I've been trying to watch some Ohio State stuff to hear some things. And
by the way, what type of YouTuber am I? A novice one. I'm a novice YouTuber, okay? But thankfully, I got people like Hunter and a great chat group who helps us here.
Hey, Mello, this is nothing new. Jeremy yells every night. It's not you.
It's questioning me because he doesn't know the name of the live stream. This is funny. What's the name of the live stream? I just want to know the name of the live stream.
It's not that. Hey, I'll say this. People have told me to go look up something before. I can go find the live stream pretty quick. Just tell me what day it was done. You know what? I'll just go watch all the live streams. Let's see it. What am I looking for, though? What am I looking for? I'll go look.
Waiting to see the name of the live stream so I can go watch it.
No, but what am I looking for when I go look? Just tell me.
Berm said that Knowles isn't going anywhere, Jay.
But who's Berm?
Dude, I'm not going to do this all night.
I'm asking. I don't know who Berm is.
Email him and ask him, Mello says. This is ridiculous.
I have no clue who Berm is, but
okay.
You know what I will say? Is he an Ohio State insider? Is that who he is?
Jay, Chuck's coming at you a little bit. You need to respond to him.
You said 5 stars is more important. I did say, I think my exact words are, maybe I said 5 stars is more important. I don't know. I think I said you have to have 5 stars too is what I said. But if I said more important, then yeah, I said that. But I thought I said 5 stars, you have to have 5 stars too is what I said. But I'll go watch, Chuck. I may be wrong. I say stuff on there all the time that maybe I'm wrong about, you know? That's fine. I appreciate you guys calling me out on it. I really do. It does not bother me at all. Like if I said that, I said
no politics.
I'll own up to it.
No politics in here, please.
Okay, but will somebody answer the question? Oh, it's Ohio State for rivals. Okay.
State rivals, Jay.
So have they been 100% correct on everything in the history of rivals, or have they ever been wrong?
I'm not going to answer that, Jay.
Okay. Because I'll say this.
Been fun.
There's a lot of times where people say they aren't going somewhere and they do. Now, we'll see. You know what? Maybe Melo comes on here in a few days after he says he's going back to Ohio State. Melo comes back on here and says, told you so, and we'll have to eat crow. But I would love to see Melo on here if it does go the other way. I will say that.
I've really got one question for Melo. If my team had won a natty like Ohio State, I would only be getting on an OU live stream for two reasons. One, to rub it in OU fans' faces, or two, to see what's going on with my who might be leaving. If I wasn't worried my D was going anywhere, I wouldn't be on an OU live stream. Now, I'm glad you're on here with us. It's been fun.
Oh, I love having other people from other fans' teams on here. Hey, Chuck, if I said that tonight, I said that. Yeah. If I said that, I'll own up to it. I always stand in the paint, Melo says. Yeah, no babies yet for Greg or KB, I don't think. So, hey, we'll find out, guys. The joy of this thing is we'll find out in another day, probably 24 hours, maybe.
Hey, Jay, I do see that Sooner Surge merch. Yes, we've got an idea. We're going to propose it and then go from there. Sooner Surge asking, is it Hoodie Melo or not?
Hoodie Melo or Atlanta Melo? Okay. Don't get it twisted, little guy.
Respond to this.
Hey, you're not the biggest guy. What are you, 5'8", 5'9"?
I don't really care how big I am, Jay.
I don't either, Germ. Here's what's funny to me about this whole situation. Then we can close. The funniest thing about all this is the Ohio State fans that think there's nothing to it. Everybody's saying there's something to it. It's not just Sooner Surge. Pat McAfee, ESPN. I mean, I don't understand why people are just in denial that it can't happen. It can definitely happen. I don't understand that.
What probably is going to happen is Coconut Greg and KB Longhorn this week. It's going to happen. Right. So, hey, listen, Jay, it's been fun as always. I can't wait for tomorrow night because it's Wednesday, and I think some news one way or the other will be happening. But been fun, everyone.
Yeah, and Daniel's right. I was too, Daniel. I was with you. I was in denial about Zach Alley. I was in denial about Lincoln Riley. Happened twice. I will not go to LSU. I will not be the head coach at LSU. He wasn't. USC.
I'm going to pull an all-nighter reading some Ohio State rivals tonight.
See you tomorrow.